William Wagner here with Lazaro. Lazaro, do I have your permission to publish this on television, radio, and other forms of media?
Absolutely.
William Wagner here with Lazaro Esenaro in Santa Maria, California. What do you got to tell us about the Bundy and the Hammonds?
This could have been a damn shame that what happened. I feel bad for the Hammonds, for the Bundys, the Lavoys, and our Patriots are incarcerated right now, unconstitutionally, illegally incarcerated or detained. This could have been prevented way back before any trials or any hearings with respect to the Hammonds and certain bills that I came through that Mr. Ron Wyden himself was the co-sponsor. The bill is called S-1134 and is in conjunction with the Wyden Amendment, which is basically allows any private citizen to aid and stop any fires that were created naturally or by a human.
Okay, what was the first bill that passed that set the Hammonds up for this? What year was it passed?
This bill was passed between November of 1998, and actually the bill goes between 1998 and 1999 through public law S-1134 passed by Congress.
And that did what?
And that is obviously to keep any individual can help, any government official or any government official can actually help a citizen stop this fire, any kind of fire, natural fires or naturally created fires or someone starting a fire illegally. They can go ahead and stop damaging any properties. This is what this bill is about.
Okay, so how does this bill lead to the Hammonds being arrested because they won't sell their ranch to the federal government? How does this lead to that, and what year did they first get arrested and convicted?
Well, they've been going obviously through numerous cases, court in and out in courts. I can't keep track with everything, but what I do know for a fact that the prosecution under the bill S-1134 could have been halted, could have halted any proceedings from the Hammonds being charged, including with the Wyden Amendment. Now, we know that the reason why Ron Wyden did not intervene is because of the bill that he's part of, which is called H.R. 4402, which gives China the ability to extract all our minerals from the ground, and that's what they're going after from the Hammonds. What the Hammonds got in there is uranium, gold, silver, and possible diamond deposits. This is all through the BLM, and I beg everyone to go to the BLM website and look at the coordinates. Obviously, through the 1973 land exploration satellite and another satellite that I just found out, that they go and they pin all these minerals wherever it is in the United States. And this was actually hand in hand with the United States Security and Exchange Commission, which they created, which called uranium resource. We don't want to confuse uranium resource with uranium one. Uranium resource breaks it down with respect to by cent of how much a gram of gold, silver, uranium would be selling in the stock market. And for this reason, when they started pinning all these minerals in Oregon, they realized that the abundance of minerals that are down there, including they even patent water. I mean, where you have to actually, as a private citizen, that you pay your tax dollars, now you have to get and request a permit to store water. And a prime example of a gentleman that just got about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, he was incarcerated for creating a reservoir, and now has to pay $150,000 or $250,000.
What's his name?
I forgot. It's in one of the documents in here.
Okay, and you said they, and you said China. You're saying the document, the congressional bill that passed Congress actually gives China the right to extract these minerals?
Absolutely, 100%. I actually have the bill right here.
What is it?
This bill, which is H.R. 4402.
HR what?
4402. House Resolution Bill 4402. And if you go, and it actually goes and elaborates in how this gentleman here, which is Andy Bentz, which is related to Cliff Bentz, he's the one that's behind the HR 4402 with Ron Wyden. So you have Ron Wyden, Cliff Bentz, Jeff Merkley, Ted Ferrioli, Greg Walden, all these people that are behind the minerals. Their names are on this list. This is not mine. As you can see, their names are right there. And they're actually, I even drew some lines on it. So where people can actually even go see and read this bill, HR 4402.
Right there, it says Chinese mining. Does that mean it's by a Chinese company, or is there an American company fronting for the Chinese?
A combination of both. The evidence that we unveiled 2 days ago from today, we found that they are because we're so much in debt to the Chinese that we are giving our natural resources. So what our government stole from us through our tax dollars, now they're going to give the Chinese the minerals, access to all the minerals, and so they can pay back the debt that we owe them. But I think there's more to this than just the debt. Honestly, people are making backhand deals with regards to our minerals and our lumber and the land. So there's two combinations of three things. One is the lumber, the other one's the land, and the other one's the minerals. Now, for instance, all these co-conspirators that are going against the Bundys and the Hammonds, they're all tied into the three things: the land, the minerals, and timber. So they get a stewardship act for $69 million, which Les Zates, let's say hypothetically, Les Zates, right, he gets federal grants. So when Les Zates gets federal grants, he writes certain bills that say, let's say the spotted owl, there's too many spotted owls. So he'll go and create a bill for the spotted owls because there's so much spotted owls. They'll give the company, a corporation like Iron Triangle or Mount Hill Timbers, and give them a $69 million stewardship, some type of federal funding, just a federal grant. So Iron Triangle did get $69 million for the next 10 years to get the timber. So let's say with Les Zates' fund too many spotted owls, where do the spotted owls reside? So you got to remove the timber. So when you remove the timber, here you go. Who are they selling the timber to? Where is that profit going? The other question is, once that timber's gone, they go ahead and they give the land to all these corporations like Calico Resource or Uranium One, and the Chinese corporations to extract all the minerals.
Okay, hold on, Lazaro. How do we know they've given them these contracts? How do we know? And who is the Iron Triangle?
Iron Triangle with Ted Ferrioli, the gentleman over there. He used to be an executive of Mount Hill Timber. Mount Hill Timber. Iron Triangle is actually, I apologize, is Zach Williams, King Williams, and a guy named Russ Young. Russ Young is the owner of Iron Triangle. Mount Hill Timber is Ted Ferrioli.
And do all three of those people, the Kings and the other third person, all live in Harney County, Oregon?
Correct. Yes and no. Harney County, Grant County, and John Day. So they're all scattered, but they're within a couple counties. And remember, when it comes to districts, so Harney County and Grant County, they're like District 3.
So are you saying basically because communist China, the mainland China, is holding somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 50 trillion Federal Reserve notes from the American printing press at the Federal Reserve, which is not really American money, because they're holding that, these ranchers, the Bundys, the Hammonds, and other future ranchers are going to lose their ranches, be thrown in jail because they won't sell out to the government to sell out to the communist Chinese, so that the Chinese won't dump the American dollar. Is that what's happening there? We're preserving the American dollar and keeping the Chinese from dumping the dollar by surrendering the individual constitutional rights of American ranchers and farmers. Is that what's happening here?
It appears so. When you think about the 1792 Act, where the silver and gold used to back our dollar, or was our dollar, our coinage act, we no longer have that. All we have is paper, which is not even backed up by gold. So where is our gold? That's number one we need to ask. And why are we borrowing money from China when we're already a rich country? Why do we have to give away our minerals, our precious minerals, from the federal taxpayers? Under Article 6, Section 2, Clause 2, the Supreme Court of the law of the land is the United States Constitution, and nothing over supersedes the Constitution. So if that's the case, under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, why are these people selling our lands to the Chinese? Don't we own it? Who gives the federal government the right to sell our lands? Where in the Constitution does it say they can sell our lands? And then when they sell the lands, and let's say hypothetically they do have it, which they don't, but where's that money going? Has anybody audited that money? Has anybody investigated where is it being spent?
Has this State Senator Ron Wyden, has he tried to audit and see where the money's going?
I doubt it because it appears that he's also involved in all these House bills that I have resolutions with regards to taking to land grabbing, taking land from the ranchers.
Are you saying Senator Ron Wyden and other local politicians are selling out the constitutional rights of Americans so the communist Chinese won't dump the dollar and we're going to let the Chinese rape our public lands for the benefit of China to make up for all the Federal Reserve notes that don't even belong to the American people? They're private issue currency from the Federal Reserve. Is that what's happening?
Of course, just look at it with the IMF. I mean, that's a prime example where you're stating with the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is no different than Federal Express.
Wow. Okay, so this is why they tried to force the Hammonds to sell their ranch. So they wouldn't even be there as they raped the land. And the Hammonds said, no, we're staying. Is that basically right?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. When the BLM says you have no right to sell your land to anybody else but them, what does that mean?
Did they actually put that in writing?
Yes, that's in writing. That's a contract. If the Salmons were to ever sell, the first one that had to sell is to the BLM. Now, I ask the American people why. What is so crucial to force somebody to sell the land to the government? Whatever is owned to us, shouldn't we have the right to sell whoever we want to? Why should we allow the government? Remember, we are the government. We govern them. Who the hell are they to tell us who, when, and where we can sell our stuff to anyone? They can't dictate it. This ain't communist. This ain't China. This ain't Russia.
Or is it communist America?
Well, the way Anna J. Brown's running her courtroom with Stephen E. Grassley over there stealing people's land with Ted Ferrioli and Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley and Kate Brown, it appears so. It appears that that America is actually becoming another instead of USA, why don't we call it USA dictatorship?
Now, explain how Judge Grassley, who calls himself Nasty Grassley, how did Judge Grassley come into this picture?
Back in 2002, he was a part of a bill, and a Senate bill, a House resolution bill. And this House resolution bill is all about the Grassy Mountain, all about the gold, and the Calico resource. Matter of fact, there's actually a document that I have right there where from 2002, where Grassy started, all the way to right now, we're in 2016. This was already perpetrated. These co-conspirators perpetrated since 1996, but Grassy since 2000 of the documents that I have. He can even go back further. But the documents that I have from the congressional hearing that he was in front of the Senate testifying is 2002 till today. And his name's all over it, which is why they probably had Lavoie assassinated. Because Lavoie stopped the uranium process, the Calico resource process, and also the timber.
Wait a minute. How did Lavoie Finicum, who I believe is from the Arizona Strip area in Utah, area known to locals as Short Creek, or what is the other town they have there? Short Creek and whatever. He's from the southern Utah border. What could Finicum have done to stop the BLM and sale of resources? I don't know anything about that.
Well, between the BLM and the Bundys and the Patriots, they were exposing this. They were exposing how the BLM and the Department of Fish and Wildlife and the U.S. Forestry are land grabbing unconstitutionally. Again,
did Finnegan himself write him a letter and say, hey, you're doing unconstitutional stuff?
Well, Lavoie was actually teaching the citizens of the Constitution and how the BLM is illegally, unconstitutionally stealing their land. When Lavoie and the Bundys showed up, they were educating the public in regards to the BLM stealing the land.
Up in Harney County, Oregon.
Correct, in Harney County and Grant County. And then mostly it's John Day, Harney County, Malheur County. But they were there educating the people with respect to the government overreach, because this is a blatant government overreach. And obviously it starts from the top, which is Harry Reid, Neil Kronze from the deputy director, principal director of the BLM. He grew up in Nevada where Reid grew up. So now you have a tie there, but not just a tie there. His father, a geologist, Gregory Kronze, works for Barrick Gold Inc., which Harry Reid and his son Rory Reid represent Barrick Gold Inc.
Doesn't attorney Rory Reid also work for the ENN Corporation, which is a mainland Chinese Communist Army front group?
Correct, which explains House Resolution Bill 4402.
Oh, now I get it. Now I see the connection. All right. But let me play devil's advocate just for a second here. I mean, I see what you're saying. But if we don't do this, if we don't let the Chinese rape Oregon and steal our minerals through crooked deals with Senator Harry Reid, Rory Reid, state senator, if we don't let them do that, maybe the Chinese will dump the U.S. dollar, or not the U.S. dollar, but the Federal Reserve notes. They're holding trillions. Some say as much as 50 trillion. And if they dump that overnight on the world market, the dollar will instantly be worthless, and it will raise havoc with our economy. So don't we have an obligation to let them do it just to keep the rest of America from tanking?
Absolutely not. I think we should just allow the dollar to tank. Get all the bankers, arrest all the bankers and all the crooked lawyers and all the crooked lobbyists and senators. That's where we need to start. If the Chinese wants to come after us, by all means, let them come after us. But guess what? Before they come after us, how about we round up all these corrupt politicians like Harry Reid, Ted Ferrioli, Jeff Merkley, Ron Wyden, Cliff Benz, Commissioner Nichols, Commissioner Russell. Why don't we just start with Kate Brown also, and Anna J. Brown.
Anna J. Brown. But excuse me, none of those are Federal Reserve Bank. Why not arrest the Federal Reserve Bank Board of Directors, Alan Greenspan, the past Board of Records, and all those crooked Federal Reserve Bank chairmen and board reserve officers? Why not arrest them for printing this funny money we call Federal Reserve notes? Why not arrest them? They started this avalanche of funny money that is now destroying the Hammonds, destroying the Bundys, and will soon be destroying thousands of ranchers and cowboys all over the West. Why not arrest the bankers?
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. We arrest the bankers, and like I said, we arrest all of them.
Don't you think the bankers will object to this?
Wouldn't you? If you're profiting millions off of this, I mean, it's like you're taking a candy from a baby. I mean, they're stealing from us. They're robbing us. They're putting America to bankruptcy. You know what? The hell with it. Let's collapse the economy. Let's go back to what founding fathers gave us, the 1792 Coinage Act, silver and gold. Let's utilize our precious resources, and let's get America back to work.
But the Chinese are still going to want something from. They're saying, wait, America let us hold trillions of dollars, and we stayed back and didn't dump the dollar for a decade or more to save the American economy, because the Chinese don't want our economy. It'll hurt them too. So the Chinese are going to want something. They're not going to just say, okay, we're going to suck our thumb and suck it up and just take it in the shorts. You know, they're not going to want to do that, and they're not going to want to shoot missiles at us, because that doesn't get them the resources. That just makes the resources radioactive, and that doesn't help them either. So shouldn't we arrest the bank gangsters and send them to China, to Beijing, for trial for selling fiat phony money that doesn't even have any gold or silver backing? And now they're trying to steal it from the ranchers. Wouldn't that be a better way to go?
Absolutely. I say arrest them all. Arrest them. The lobbyists, the lawyers, the congressmen, the senators, even the president of the United States. They committed treason under Article 3, Section 3. Let's hold them accountable. If we don't hold them accountable, then we ain't gonna have any America left for us, for our children or our grandchildren. I say let's do this. Why don't we round them all up, send them to China, let the Chinese take care of them. At the same time, we'll get all their land and we'll give it to China. That's what the best thing we can do. At least to give back to China something. We'll give them their blood. We'll give them and we'll give them all their fortunes or whatever they stole from the American people. And there you go, China. You wanted something, we got you something. We gave you two things. We gave you all their assets, and we're giving you them. We can do that and save America.
Well, the Federal Reserve is mostly owned by a collection of banks, mostly owned by the Rothschild and Rothschild bankers. They're worth trillions of dollars. My last good estimate that they're worth in the neighborhood of $550 trillion. So if they just paid off the $50 trillion with Rothschild assets, wouldn't that clear the debt?
But remember, what's backing the dollar? It's just like paper. Yeah. You just go there and you give them toilet paper. Here you go. Here's 1,000 pieces. Here's 3 trillion sheets of toilet paper. Here you go. That's what basically the dollar's worth.
Well, they used to say the dollar's as good as gold. And it took us almost 150 years to build that reputation. It took the Federal Reserve only 100 years to destroy that reputation. Now it's like the old saying 200 years ago, not worth a continental. Because after the War of Independence, they all said, we don't want these notes that they printed during the Revolutionary War. They're not worth a continental. People were wallpapering their houses, stuffing them in the cracks of their log cabins to keep the cold out because they were worthless. So we got to give the Chinese, to be fair, we have to give the Chinese that are holding 50 trillion of these things, some estimates, some say 25 trillion. They're going to want something for this. So we give them the bankers the blood. How are we going to arrest the Rothschilds in London, in Paris? How are we going to get them arrested and send them to China? All we can do is arrest their American Federal Reserve Bank officers. And they probably ain't worth $1 billion, all of them put together.
Actually, you know what? I'll go to Putin. I say, you know what, Putin? America will throttle back. Do your thing. Go after George Soros and the Rothschilds. You know Putin has an international warrant on George Soros. You know, we all know that George Soros is in cahoots with all these criminals, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. By all means, you can come back. Matter of fact, you're welcome to come in and go to Washington, D.C. and take them all. You know what? I guarantee you there's a lot of good patriots and probably 3%ers, and the rest of America will even probably help you to do that. Once America wakes up and realizes how we're being raped, how these criminals are stealing the poor ranchers' lands, what do you call it, our children, because all these criminals, not just behind all the minerals and the lumber and the BLM, U.S. Forestry, and the Department of Fish and Wildlife, but they're also part of the Child Protective Services, and they also have a racketeering behind that. And they pass, and I beg everybody to read Legislative Bill 74. Actually, it started in 2004, and they amended it in 2017, which goes in hand with Measurement 37, which is unconstitutional in stealing the lands. But while doing that, they also passed the foster care agency.
Wait a minute, you said 2017. We ain't got to 2017. What year did you mean?
No, 2007.
2004 to 2007.
Yeah, in 2004, the Measurement 37 passed, and then in 2007, they amended it. And when they amended it, they also included foster care. And look up everything that's in foster care, no different than what you do in the land grabbing under Measurement 37, under the legislative bill. And actually, there's two types of what they created. One was called the Plan Comprehensive Bill, number 1, and the Land Comprehensive Bill, number 2. So there's two, which is 180-something pages long, each one. So I know a lot of people don't want to read it, but I beg you to read it, because guess what? These criminals are the ones that's stealing your children, your land, your minerals, and your lumber. These are the criminals that should be behind bars, not the Bundys, not the Hammonds, but these right here. And they're co-conspirators.
So the Hammond Hammond father and son, Stephen, the father and son Hammonds, and Cleveland Bundy and his sons Ryan and Amon Bundy, who I've personally interviewed both, Cleveland and Amon, they're the heroes.
Absolutely, because they're here trying to wake up America, educate America with regards to within the bound of the United States Constitution.
Why isn't Fox News covering this? Why isn't Fox News, CNN, ABC interviewing you?
That's a good question, because they all have money in Wall Street. Remember, this all goes back to Wall Street under the United States Security and Exchange Commission under uranium resource. So if anybody has money in Wall Street and have money like Anna J. Brown with respects to gold, silver, black diamond, copper, well, she doesn't want her bonds or funds or stocks, her shares losing any value. So it's one of the reasons why she's doing what she's doing in that kangaroo court.
Have you pulled up her financial disclosure statement in that state?
Oh, absolutely, I did. All the way from 2002 to 2011 or 12.
And what did it show?
And it showed all her money tied up to real estate and bonds. Bonds, stocks, so they all mean the same thing, basically. She has it all tied up into Wall Street and the BLM, Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the U.S. Forestry. She's making money. On top of it, under the Title 5 U.S. Code, she actually makes $5,000 to $10,000 every time she sides with the federal government. So basically, 80% of her cases, she rules in favor of the government. Do your research yourself. Don't take my word for it, because I beg you. I beg America, do your research, and then once you're doing your research, come to the conclusion and start holding indictments against her and bring her in a common law grand jury and hold her accountable.
Isn't there a common law grand jury already organized in Harney County?
They're trying to do it. They're trying to get the common law grand jury up.
But it's not working yet.
It's a slow, methodical process because you got Stephen E. Grasty, appointed Stephen E. Grasty, appointed David Ward, appointed Kate Brown.
Wait, David Ward, people don't know, that's the appointed sheriff.
Correct.
And he's appointed by one of the criminals that's conspiring, along with all these other criminals, to steal the resources off the public land that the BLM only supposed to manage.
Correct. And actually, David Ward was appointed by Commissioner Nichols, by Stephen E. Grassi, which is the only judge there, and Commissioner Russell, and then whoever else was behind this.
Should Judge Brown be arrested, indicted by the common law grand jury? Should be arrested, indicted, put on trial, and put away in prison?
Yes, and all the co-conspirators, absolutely.
And the co-conspirators would include Judge Grasty, Ron Wyden, and this other state senator, what's his name?
Ted Ferrioli, Cliff Bentz, Greg Walden, Gordon Smith.
Because they're all lining their money illegally, helping the Chinese rape our natural resources.
Absolutely, man. Like I stated earlier, with the stewardship, the $69 million stewardship, where Malheur Timber can get some federal funding. You have Iron Triangle getting federal funding. So here we go. We're paying Iron Triangle supposedly to bring all this timber down, but then go ahead and sell it. At the same time, we are paying the salary, the wages of the BLM employees, the U.S. Forestry employees, and the Department of Fish and Wildlife. So what are they actually Iron Triangle paying when they're all getting paid by all the American tax dollars and not have nothing? What's the overhead they're paying? Maybe the building. And by the way, probably that land might have taken it from some poor rancher, and here you go. The BLM gives it to the corporation, in which these people have money tied into. I didn't say it. Look at the campaign contributions that are over there on that table. Each one has I pulled up each one's campaign contribution, and it's staggering.
Let's look at that. Pull that up.
Absolutely. I got some of them, so. So this is why they assassinated Lavoy and why the Bundys are incarcerated. Prior to the assassination of Lavoy and our patriots being there in Harney County, George Soros, the Barrick Gold Inc. merged with Calico Resource, and obviously we got to go back to the Wall Street with the United States and Security Exchange Commission and Uranium Resource. So Calico Resource automatically gets a baseline approval to go ahead and actually start extracting all our minerals. That's where you have Cliff Bent's family member, Andy Bent, working on House Resolution Bill 4402, which also explains the Butte bill behind Harry Reid 199 and S199 and S198. As you go, you'll see that all these pages right before the letter to the assassination of Harry Reid. Look what George Soros continues buying gold all the way up to. So you can see when George Soros continues to purchase gold in January 2nd of 2016. So there's already people that have financial interest behind getting the Hammonds, the Bundys, and the Voy in one way, shape, or form, either through incarceration, assassination, or other means necessary. And as you can see, Calico Resource continues. And actually, Calico Resource was given a go-ahead back in, or started the research in 2000. Calico Resources is continuing. It started in 2011 to just recently. Got the approval to go ahead and extract our minerals, not their minerals, our minerals, because we are the American taxpayers. And that federal land belongs to us under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, not to the federal government. So as you can see, Calico Resource started in 2011 all the way till now. And again, everything goes to the United States and Security Exchange Commission. Here we go with the letters occurring with regards to residents doing the land exchange and not wanting it. Even this guy Neil Wimbledon, which he wanted land. He wanted land for his self-interest, and you can see it going to the BLM director at the time, Shepard. And as we continue, you'll see here, including Uranium One, which is Energy LLC, because we got to understand that both companies, including our corrupt politicians, want these lands and have money behind the minerals, the land, and the lumber. They're in either Grassy Mountain, Steens Mountain, or Blue Mountain. And as you can see right here, they're already talking back since 2011 to give Uranium One access to Grassy Mountain. Or let me clarify this. So obviously now after Uranium One gets Steens Mountain, we have Calico Resource. Calico Resource gets Grassy Mountain. And then God knows what else with respects to Blue Mountain, or they're all directly or indirectly working on all three sections of the mountain. So as we can see in 2011 to now, Calico Resource was deeply involved, and that's why Stephen E. Grassi was involved in several committees with respect to Grassy Mountain and Calico Resource. And this is why we're here today. We're here today to expose all these criminals, and including also in the back end, them getting actual money through the timber, which again, it's a Stewardship Act, the $69 million Stewardship Act, which through Iron Triangle Mount Here Timber. And this is what's crazy and ironic. Scotta Acalister, which is related to Les Zates, she runs and operates, well, she actually writes for the Blue Mountain Eagle, and Marissa Williams, which is the wife of King Williams, runs Iron Triangle, and then his son Jack Williams, and they're also, and that's owned by Russ Young. So basically we have money going all over between the timber, the minerals, and the land, which explains why they're going after the Hammonds and everybody else in Harney County, and possibly now thank God for Palmer standing up for the people in Grant County, but David Ward's not planning to stop to help the people from in Harney County, because David Ward was appointed, and by being appointed, he has special interest in this. So do I see anybody getting any justice out of this? No, not until we get a common law grand jury in there. So as we continue in exposing these criminals, so they need an excuse to take the land, to steal the land, to give the BLM the ability to steal land, or the Department of Fish and Wildlife and the U.S. Forestry. So after Les Zates goes ahead and writes his funds, like let's say temperature water's too hot or too cold, or spotted wadge or the sage grouse are endangered species, or sage grouse, they'll go ahead and they'll create like sage grouse, and they'll create something about the sage grouse, which is an endangered species. And because it's an endangered species, we're gonna go ahead and take the land from the poor ranchers. And this is all by Kate Brown. Not well, she went far as writing an executive order. This is her Executive Order 1518. But this was also supported between another bill that came out of, which is Bill HR, or actually HB 334. That's with Cliff Bent and Stephen E. Grasty. So Stephen E. Grasty and Cliff Bent goes ahead and go with a House Bill 334 to support this executive order by Kate Brown 1518. So they purposely orchestrated all this to just basically and create all these committees so they can go ahead and steal the land from the Hammonds. So this isn't about the fires, about the fire, or the fire that was started by the BLM, or let's say hypothetically it was started by nature. At the end of the day, this is about stealing their land. And there's two bills that can right now exonerate the Hammonds, like I stated earlier, which are S 1134 and the Wyden Amendment. And the S 1134 came out in 1998, November 1998 and 1999.